It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160 at 8:45. And he is Indiana Borough Police Chief Justin Schawl joining us in the studio this morning. Our conversation is brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
It's good to hear you and be with you here this morning on Indiana in the Morning. Lots going on, of course, in the summertime. Things sort of change their focus from other times of the year. A lot of what we do now has to do with kids in the summertime, protecting kids in the summertime because they're everywhere, aren't they?
That's right. We are transitioning. We're fortunate to get IUP graduated and the students home for the summer safely, get our Indiana high school and all of our local schools, if they're not out already, they're soon to be out already. We've had our first special event of the summer go off, which was the West Virginia Jazz and Blues Festival. So that went off, and now we're focused on summertime safety, traffic safety. We're always focused on pedestrian safety, but we want to make sure that Indiana Borough is a safe place for everything you want to do in the summertime, which always includes a lot of folks out and about on foot, on bicycles, in cars, headed to our special events. So it's a good time of year, but certainly a different time of year.
Yeah. One of the things that I note is a number of kids are making their way over to Mack Park on a daily basis. You see them walking along the sidewalks. They've got their towels slung over their shoulders. They're riding their bikes, their skateboards, everything like that. They're crossing streets. They might be a little bit overexcited to get there and try to rush across the street. So from a traffic standpoint, whether it's that or any other issue with kids traveling around, we need to watch out for them when we're in our cars.
We really do, because once a crash happens, there's always injury. There could be injury or damage, and we want to avoid those two things. So no matter who's shown to be at fault for any crash, there's always harm on both ends. So we want to make sure as motorists, we want to encourage all of our motorists to watch out for children that may not be paying attention as they should. And we want to encourage our children to pay attention to motorists that may not be paying attention as they should. And then the police department's going to plug in and pay attention to everyone that may not be paying attention as they should, so that we can get our kids safely through town, to Mack Park, to the S&T Arena, to the Little League baseball fields. I mean, there's so many places in Indiana Borough that our kids are traveling every day, and great facilities. We want to make sure that everyone has a really positive summer experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So there was an Amber Alert in Pennsylvania out of York County the other day, and everybody who has a cell phone, of course, you get the Amber Alert, and you know that there's a kid missing. We've not had an incident like that in the last couple of years. I recall one down on Water Street a year or so ago in which a young person was approached by somebody in a car and did the smart thing, used the cell phone, and was protected in that way. Let's talk about moms and dads. When they know that their kids are in school, they know where they are. Sometimes in the summertime, that child might wander away, might go someplace where mom and dad said, always tell us where you are, but they sort of forget that part. We have to know where our kids are. We have to know that they're protected, and we have to watch out for them from being abducted. I know for police that's an emphasis, but when an Amber, I know you trained for this, when an Amber Alert happens, when we hear that somebody is missing and that call comes into Borough Police, that's all hands, isn't it?
It is all hands. And the really valuable thing about Amber Alert is it's immediate information. Once there's something that meets the criteria, it goes out everywhere. Everyone's cell phone starts going off. It's a noticeable tone. It makes everybody stand up and pay attention. In that case, it's everyone. It's police. It's the public. It's anyone walking around. Safety of our kids is paramount. I speak to that on behalf of, my wife and I are parents of 3 children in Indiana. Most of the police officers that I know have children or are planning to have children. And so, this is a sensitive topic. We want to make sure that our kids are safe. And to your point, it's everyone's responsibility. It's my responsibility as a parent to coach and teach and love my kids well. It's my job as a police officer to make sure that, we're creating as safest environment as possible, that we're also educating everyone, parents and children, about safety, and then that we're being vigilant. As chief, it's my responsibility and the staff's responsibility to put policies and practices in place that can keep our community safe and everybody vigilant. And so it's everybody. And, the safety of our children, paramount importance. And, I say this often, and I truly mean it, and that's why I say it so often. Indiana County is blessed to have excellent resources, excellent police services, excellent relationships built with each other. So, I have a high level of confidence that we do safety well in Indiana County, and I just appreciate the efforts of every police officer, no matter what uniform that they're in. And I appreciate the efforts of every parent and every child who's paying attention, who's being vigilant, who is worrying about not only their safety, but the safety of perhaps their neighbors' children.
Sure.
Perhaps their children's friends. It's all important.
We talk about preparation, and certainly you want to be prepared for any type of situation that comes up. That one there is especially distressing. Do you do specific exercises to train for a child abduction? Do you have speakers come in? Are there special websites you visit or different types of methods of training for that?
So without jumping into specific trainings necessarily, we're training all year long. There are multiple platforms that we train on. We try to give officers every opportunity. We try to put valuable information out on social media when we can, not only for the benefit of our partners, but also the benefit of our community. So to your point, generally, we're training on multiple topics. There's no topic that's not important. So if we can find a training, if we can find the right fit to deliver the training, which is not hard to do, and certainly the officers are interested in being as well versed as possible on all things. So long-winded way to say yes, we do train, but we also train on a multitude of topics. And that's really, in a community-oriented police department, we are more center fielders than we are pitchers or catchers in that respect. So we have to be versed in a lot of things. We have to have a lot of resources at our disposal, because when the phone rings, we're never certain whether we're answering a dangerous call, whether we're answering perhaps a civil call or a community peace, safety, or comfort call. It's all different, but we handle upwards of 12,000 calls a year, and so we just have to be ready and prepared for everything.
Yeah. Justin Schawl, Indiana Borough Police Chief, with us here this morning. People will notice in the summer times that there are people running around the neighborhood that they're not used to, maybe from people going door to door. We hear scam reports all the time. We had 2 more scam reports over the weekend. There are people who in the summertime are legitimately there in your neighborhood going door to door. They might be gas company workers. They might be somebody else. But there are people out there that we know are targeting people. And so what's the advice for people dealing with strangers in the neighborhood who might be knocking on doors, might be talking to people that might seem a little bit suspicious?
Yep. So I'll give you a specific answer for Indiana Borough, and then I'll do my best to give you a more general answer, because I'm not certain what other communities are doing. So in Indiana Borough, to solicit door-to-door lawfully, you have to have a permit. That permit is issued by Indiana Borough and is to be displayed in some way, shape, or form on the person who's at your door. So if you're an Indiana Borough resident and someone comes to your door and they're soliciting a product, immediately ask to see their permit. If they don't have a permit, at very least, you know that they haven't checked in with Indiana Borough to verify that they're a business entity, that their practice is prudent for Indiana Borough. So more generally speaking, though, very broad scale, if something's suspicious, report it. Always report it to the police. If you want to check to make sure that someone, perhaps in White Township or in another area, has lawful reason to be at your door, then I certainly recommend that you call your whatever borough or township office there is. Perhaps they may not be available after hours. I would say that safe bet that soliciting after 5 p.m. at night is probably always something that should catch your eye. And then, very least, if you're not comfortable with an encounter at your front door, close your front door and lock it.
Yeah.
And that's the safest way that we can be. Or don't answer it at all. So if you're not interested in having a conversation with someone at your door that you don't know, I would encourage you not to answer your door. If you start a conversation with someone that you don't know, and you start to feel like the conversation is not going well, or your senses are heightened, I would encourage you just respectfully close the door and lock the door behind you. You can always, most of us have cell phones now close to us, so in those situations we could always make a quick call if our comfort or discomfort level is that high. And then with scams, no one is immune from this. Yeah. There are calls every day. It's difficult to block the number of calls every day asking for something or telling you that something's expired or a warranty or a computer fix. So we're all plugged in. The Pennsylvania State Police and The Indiana County District Attorney's Office are excellent at putting out scam information. We try to do that at the borough when we get those reports, but just stay vigilant to those websites. And if you have an opportunity, never give your information to a stranger, first of all. Banks generally don't call and ask you for your own banking information. That's always a call that you generally make to a bank. So we just want to make sure that we're aware of these things so that we don't get caught in a situation that's unenviable.
Yeah, yeah. And as was the news that we always gave to our older relatives, don't let them pass the front porch.
That's right.
never let them pass the front porch. It's probably a good idea to keep them off the front porch too. Keep them out on the lawn.
Yeah. Don't ever invite a stranger inside your house, especially if they're offering to sell something. Yeah, not that everyone has a nefarious purpose, but enough do that I don't think the risk is worth the kindness.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Indiana Borough Police Chief Justin Schawl, I've sort of led this discussion. Are there any other things that you want people to know about summertime? Of course, being sensible with the drinking at festivals and maybe overnight celebrations, those sorts of things. Those are always good reminders for folks.
They are. Indiana Borough is going to have some festivals coming up in downtown Indiana, so just ask that everyone pay attention to the advertising, to our social media, to the announcements for special events. Those generally require road closures. School bus safety, not so much on our forefront here come June, July, but traffic safety is always on our forefront. Mm-hmm. As you said earlier, pedestrian safety, extremely important. We have children running everywhere. And so I just appreciate everyone's patience. I always have and I always will. If there's a safety issue, please get it to us. And that's really it. Just have a nice summer. We're really interested in having everybody being able to plug in for everyone in a positive way.
Have a good summer. Good
That's
plan.
right.
Good plan. Thanks, Chief.
You got it.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Good morning to you. We're a couple of